Bum 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 bum. The Peter Light Show. Bum 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 bum. All right, I would like to pray for some positive butterfly effect events in my life in the coming semester. I teach at a community college. So, for those of you who don't know, the butterfly effect is the concept that seemingly trivial changes in events could could have drastic consequences, right? So, let me give an example. We all know what happened on September 11th, 2001, but there were people who survived only because their baby cried a little bit longer than normal, because they went outside to smoke a cigarette, because they forgot their badge and had to go home and get it. You can read all sorts of permutations on stories about that, right? And there are people who are alive today, 22, 23 years old, only because their parents were involved in 9/11 and did something that night to relax from 9/11, right? There's a lot of people who exist because of that, right? You got to remember, it wasn't just the people who were in 9/11, it's also people who turned on their television sets as well, right? If you're 22, 23, there's a chance that you may exist because of 9/11, right? That's a butterfly effect, right? So if you ever get the idea that I want to travel back in time to prevent 9/11, it might not give you the result that you hope for, right? But my own personal life has recently been marked by positive butterfly effects as well. You guys know my current love life. But I owe a lot of that to a lot of butterfly effects as well. For starters, she is an artist herself. And how did I get involved in art? Well, I was teaching AP chemistry at a tutoring center, and one of my students brought in this really fancy periodic table that had pictures of all of the elements, and I got fascinated with making art out of a couple of them, right? And that's what thrusted me into the art career. Now, you got to also remember 3 years ago, I had no intentions on dating. Why did I return to the dating scene? Well, it was summer 2024. The weather in Phoenix got really brutal that year, much more brutal than a lot of other summers. Now, I distinctly remember because I would turn on the radio and Taylor Swift's Cruel Summer was really popular that summer, and it was really hot. And to hear Cruel Summer was it really made it a really cruel summer, right? And then if that wasn't bad enough, I got a really bad case of COVID-19 during a heat wave, living all alone. And if that wasn't bad enough, when I went out to the store to finally feed myself, because you got to remember, I was sick, I hardly could roll out of bed. I'm not very financially well. I can't just order. I'm not used to ordering delivery. I mean, I probably could have afforded it for the couple of weeks I was sick, but being unaccustomed to it, I kind of just forgot it existed, right? And so I went out, and store security was very hostile to me. And now he wasn't just hostile; he also wasn't very nice about it either. He said, "Sir, you got to get out of the store. This is not a seating area." He didn't spend 2 seconds to find out what was going on, right? And that was the moment where the switch went off in my head. There's a huge disadvantage to being single, right? Now, also, I talk about how the art started. Why was I even working at that tutoring center? Well, because COVID happened. I lost a lot of hours at the community college I was teaching at. Now, why was I in Taiwan in 2024? My grandmother had just passed away. Now, you got to remember, my grandmother's 91 years old. She had a lot of near death experiences before finally passing. Had she passed it during some other experience when the girl wasn't active in her dating life, that could have went differently, right? Or when I wasn't involved in dating myself, had she passed 2 years earlier, 3 years earlier, had she passed 6 years earlier when I had another love life, it wouldn't have played out, right? Um, and then there's other events as well. I'll let you pause the video to think about it, but I owe what I have now to a lot of events that seem irrelevant, right? Grandmother's passing when she did, her surviving when she did. Uh, oh, yeah. When I left grandmother's funeral, why did I even go to that dating app in the first place? Well, I was bored. I had a hostel that was out in the outskirts of town. Had I booked a hostel closer to Taipei, where there's hiking events, there's other events, I may not have thought about the online dating app, right? And so we got the booked hostel, grandmother passing, COVID, the COVID harassment incident, my loss of my job at the community college, the tutoring center, the kid who decided to bring in that fancy periodic table, the finding out about the Legos at the event a year after during an art show. Had any one of these links not happened, it's very doubtful this current relationship would even be a thing, right? And it just goes to show how much luck there is in our society. Just like whether or not you lived or died on September 11th had a lot to do with things that had nothing to do with geopolitics, had nothing to do with Osama bin Laden, had nothing to do with George W. Bush, but just little quirks in life like traffic, like your baby crying, like you forgot your cell phone, could have made a difference between life or death. And that's why I like to pray, right? Because I often don't have the best of luck. I often have the bad butterfly effects, right? So I want you to pray for me by singing along with me, gesturing at your screen, and hitting the like on this video. This is the Peter Like Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Like Show. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Like Show. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Like Show. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Like Show. Bum 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 bum.